Welcome to the Asian Mental Health Podcast, brought to you by Shapes and Sounds.
Hey Asami.
Hi,
hey,
yo.
Asami. Hey Asami.
Hi yo.
So we've had a bit of a last minute reschedule because of illness.
Everyone is sick.
Yep.
Not us though.
Not us. We're
Touch wood.
Last people standing. We are touching wood. And we've made a last minute decision, and I'm going to do your job this episode. And
Good.
Yeah, today I'm going to ask you about some challenges that you've had.
That's good. I feel like it's like my job is actually easier. I just have to answer your questions. You have to carry the convo. So
Oh, do I?
yeah, you do. You're the host.
It was funny. Well, yeah, actually. So it's funny because I'm always giving you and Marcus and Oscar instructions and feedback, constructive criticism about like how to be a good host. And now I'm about to fail miserably at all of those.
No, you're going to
pointers.
show how it's done. And I'll be like, oh, that's how you do it.
But I mean, you know, it's a really great theme that we've chosen for the season. Therapists themselves, we often see them as people with like perfect mental health, but that's not really the case, is it? Because they're just humans like all of us. And
I think we just like pretend.
we pretend, right? We put them on a pedestal sometimes. So you're a practitioner.
And I just pretend I have really good mental health.
We're about to
Okay.
dive into like how that's not always the case.
No,
Like
of course not.
I've known you for a long time. You are a qualified practitioner, even if you're not on the practitioner list for some weird reason. Too busy running the business. I know. But yeah, we've known each other for a long time. I want to dive into some of the dark times that you've faced. I feel like these days you're doing pretty well. You run a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And you have experience as a yoga instructor. I feel like everyone perceives you as a very healthy person.
Do you think so?
I think you're a healthy person.
I think I am now. I agree. I am now for sure.
I think you handle your boundaries really well.
We've
We've always had an excellent working relationship. It hasn't always been easy, if I can be honest.
Oh, okay.
But
No, I'm kidding. No, that's true. That's very fair. Yeah.
yeah, but we always work through things.
Yeah,
and
always.
That's why I hold you in high regard, and I think you're healthy because we wouldn't be able to do that if you weren't healthy.
That's true.
One thing we do share in common is that we've both experienced in our lifetimes chronic physical pain. It's excruciating. It's debilitating. Like it really can interrupt our lives in such a big way. Tell me about your experience with chronic pain.
Yeah. Let's go back to 2018. So like a different world back then, wasn't it, when you look back? But I was working full-time at a crisis service, like really front-line acute mental health work or therapeutic work. And at the time, I would definitely have to take days off because I would have really bad back pain, lower back pain. But it wasn't just lower back pain. It was just like, I couldn't describe it to people as well. Like it was like you wake up in the night and all your muscles are like locked, like really painful. And it was predominantly like the back and the legs and the hips and stuff, right? But also my shoulders and like in between the shoulders and my neck, so much so that like I could not turn my head. And I think like everyone always focuses on lower back pain too, right? So that was the easiest way for me to conceptualize it and tell people. There was no working from home at the time, so I just like kind of kept going. You can go to work, but you're always in pain. I didn't have a standing desk as well. One day I woke up and I was just in so much pain that like I could not get out of bed. And I was like frantically looking for a remedial massage place near my house. And I was like, oh my God, I've heard massage is good. So let's go and get a massage. But I was in like so much pain that I couldn't even get changed,
Mm.
and I had to put on a dress. Luckily it was summer, but like, there's like a smock dress. So you just like throw it on your body, stumble into my little Birkenstocks because I thought they would be really helpful. And then I kind of just like hobbled to this massage place, which wasn't in any way like, I don't know, it wasn't like an osteo or a physio. It was just like a pure relaxation massage. And then they massaged out my back. And it just didn't work
It
at
didn't
all.
work.
Or like it worked for like 15 minutes, and then you get home and then
Yeah.
you sit down and then it's all gone.
I mean, how long did this repeat for, do you think? Like
Yeah, like I reckon ages, like over a year.
over a year.
I would say over a year.
And were you going to bed dreading the next day?
I feel like I wasn't even conscious of it. Like I didn't even know the extent of how much it was impacting my life. It was just like this thing that happens, and you can't predict it. It just kind of comes and goes. There was no awareness. It was just like this thing that I lived with.
And well, then, so was there like a moment that you were like, okay, apart from the getting a massage and stuff, was there a moment that you were like, I can't do this anymore? Massage therapists are not helping.
Yeah. And I used to do a lot of yoga.
Mm.
And the thing with yoga is, so this is actually a really great story about how much I resist getting help for things. Like years, a long, long time of like self-managing, doing the yoga in the morning, going to Pilates because obviously that's what you do. Drinking enough water. They always talk about drinking enough water, but never really like addressing it. And then the Pilates person at the time was like, oh, I know a physio. You can go and see them about your back pain. So I went to a physio and it was great. And I had 2 physios. There's one physio that's like a manual physio, so they will massage out things. And then I also had a physio that taught me all the rehab exercises. And then I would do those rehab exercises every single day. And it cost a lot of money because
so expensive.
It's so expensive,
so
right?
expensive, yeah.
Especially because it just continues forever and ever and ever. And it didn't help.
No,
I was literally doing the yoga and the exercises, the rehab exercises every day, and it did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you feel despair?
I don't think it was despair. I think it was just like, oh, this is like my life.
You had accepted it.
I guess so.
Interesting. Well, look, before we go any further, I want to know, you spoke earlier about resistance to get help. Where do you think that comes from?
Yeah.
Is there any cultural angle to that, or just you as a person?
I think there is, but I also think this is me. So I'm going to make some really broad, generalized statements.
Let's go. That's
but
what we do here.
It could be just me. But I think in like I don't even know if this is real, but like that Japanese culture of grit and stoicism, this is what your life is and you just ganbaru through it. You just keep going, and it's like, don't complain. But although I do complain a lot, but it was like, oh, I'm just resigned to this. This is how my body is. This is how my back works. These are the symptoms that I experience, and therefore I just need to kind of do all the rehab. And probably the fault is that I'm not doing the rehab enough and I'm not doing the right exercises enough. Therefore, it's not getting better. So there's a lot of like that self-blame. And also there's a part of me, I don't think this has anything to do with Japanese culture, but like back in the day I would have been like, there's something that I'm probably needing to work through, like emotionally, and then this pain will go away. Rather than being like, oh, here is a problem that you just need the right exercises for and the right treatment plan, and you'll get through it. And for me, that stems from a lot of experiences of like the medical world or medical engagement and things not actually working so well, like just say eczema or asthma, having really bad side effects to asthma medication. So I think maybe things like that all play into my resistance to seeking care back in the day.
Wait, are those issues you've also dealt with aside from this, or you've seen other people go to get help for things and it just doesn't work?
Oh, no, me. Like once I
You've-
had really bad side effects from asthma medication, and it like makes you really puffy, like cortisol. I think that's what it's called, but it's like cortisone, and it makes your face like a moon, and things like that as a child.
Yeah, that's gonna stay with you.
Yeah,
Those
that will
kind of
deter
things will
you,
stay with
right?
you for sure. And then, yeah, I mean, okay, so you talk about a feeling of, is it resignation?
Maybe, yeah.
So there was a point
And even like I deserve this, or probably
yeah,
I've done
yeah,
something to
yeah.
deserve this.
Oh my gosh, that's rough. Did you have support in terms of not just your medical or like physical health stuff? What was it like
Yeah.
in your community?
I think I'm definitely a human that keeps everything to myself. Or I was. Not anymore. This is pre-COVID. I'm like a
Interesting. Things
different
have changed.
human, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, me too. Yep.
So I feel like even my colleagues, just because we were so much closer to our colleagues back in the day, because you see them every single day, I don't think people really knew, or like I'd never explained how big the problem was.
Yeah.
But in terms of like who was supporting me, of course, like my closest relationships were always there for me. But even then, it's hard to communicate what you're going through if you don't have the language to describe it, or if you yourself don't even know what's happening. And if the only way I can describe things is like, oh, my back is sore, my muscles are tight, it doesn't sound debilitating too. I don't think I even knew the term chronic pain. I don't think I even or I would have heard the term chronic pain, but I'd be like, oh, I don't think I've got chronic pain. I just have pain. Or I don't know, my muscles get tight or something, right? But it's like so much so that you can't go to work or you can't do anything during the day.
I think that's the biggest indicator, isn't it? If it's like affecting your work. That's always my barometer. So how did you solve the problem? Like what did you do to...
I'm trying to remember how this happened, but I cannot remember the how. But essentially, one day I tried osteopathy instead of physio. I don't even know why. I think probably because there's an osteopath near my house. So I must have been like, oh, I just need the next appointment somewhere. And then I went to the osteo, and this is in the first session, right? He talked to me about my pain. He asked me to move around. Can you bend your touch your toes? Can you do this? Can you bend backwards? Can you turn to the side? He did all these things. And he kept saying like, do you feel the pain now? And I'd be like, oh, I think so. And then he sat me down, and then he drew me a picture, and it was just like a brain and arrows. And then he was like, do you know how pain works? And I was like, well, pain is inflammation in the body. And he was like, no, like, do you know like how the perception of pain works in your body? I was like, I think so. Like I work in trauma every day. But then he explained it to me really simply. And essentially it's just like something happens, you get an external stimulus. So something on the outside happens and your nervous system picks that up. Then that signal goes up to the brain, and then your brain is like, is this dangerous? Is this not dangerous? And then it goes back, and then just say you're touching something hot, and then the brain is like, that's dangerous, and then you take your hand off, right? And
It's
then
like a relay system.
Yeah.
And
then he's like, if you have experiences of like high stress, distress, or trauma, what can happen is that signaling and that like mechanism that's going on can get really mixed up, and your nervous system might be really like reactive to any kind of external stimulus, or you might like interpret something as like a lot of danger when it's actually not. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he gave me the piece of paper, and he was like, oh, and I've also got an article for you. Like, you know, if you work in trauma, here's like an article about chronic pain and trauma. And then I went home and then I read it. And then honestly, the next day I did not have pain. And that's like the end of the story. And my chronic pain experience ended there, just one session. And there was like no manual adjustments or anything. It was just like,
what?
he just drew me a picture and gave me an article and then I read it. And then the next day the pain was gone.
Overnight.
Essentially, you know, because like you don't think about it.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah,
I just kind of realized like, oh wow, my back isn't sore. How wild is that?
That's really wild. I mean, it's miraculous. Like,
Yeah.
and then is that how you understand what happened? How the healing happened? Like,
Yeah.
do you read the article, you saw the diagram, and you're like, yeah, this is it, and then it just went away.
I think it was like knowing that there's not something bad that's happening all the time, but actually your brain is like on like overdrive. It's like scared. And you're just so heightened. And then you're scared because you're heightened. And so then the muscles cramp up. And then that's the part that's causing pain.
It's scary how much of a monopoly our brain has on our consciousness.
Yep.
And I can't help think about if the brain is so involved in our physical pain, like it has everything to do with our mental health as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm curious, what was your mental health like during that time?
Yeah, it was awful. It was poor, like super duper poor. And that had a lot to do with the work that I was doing at the time.
Tell me about that.
It was too much on the nervous system. So working in crisis 5 days a week is hard work. All the people that do it, you are incredible and you are so strong. And I think being around distress and crisis and people's anguish so much of the week. So what's that, like 40 hours?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
40 hours.
Yep.
I think it really changes your perception of the world. Like I honestly did not feel safe walking around the city. You know, I used to work in the city. So it's like I didn't feel safe anymore in the world, like because your perception changes about the safety of the world, right?
So, sorry, can you describe for our listeners the kind of people you are working with?
So young people who were homeless at the time, and like for a human to become homeless, like so many things have gone wrong in their lives, right? And that can often look like violence, intimate partner violence, violence from their family, assault, sexual assault, just like the worst things that could happen to a human. And yet these people, I'm going to say young people, which makes me sound old, but you know,
I'm
these
right there
young
with
people
you. It's all good. Yeah.
have somehow miraculously survived, right? And they might be sleeping rough on the street, or they might be going from house to house, like zero stability in their lives. And then, of course, that translates into really poor mental health. And
you're steeped in that
40
hours a week.
Yep.
You see them more than you see your family.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You know, and eventually I left that workplace. I think it was all around the back time and the pain going away. Like everything was, I can't even remember the timeline, but I left, right?
Yeah. Problems seem to come in a snowball and then leave in a snowball as well. I don't know what the analogy is there, but yeah, when it rains it pours, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I also had shingles many times during this time. You know how you're supposed to only get shingles once in your life, apparently? I don't know.
Times.
I had multiple times. So that's like a real nervous system thing, right? So then I left. When I handed in my resignation letter, I was like, this job has affected me so poorly. You must pay for 10 sessions of psychology. And they did. That was good. And I found like a trauma psychologist, again, in the city. And we've spoken about it a lot on the podcast, but she does EMDR, eye movement desensitization, something.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Anyway, it's the one that everyone talks about, and you follow a cue that does bilateral stimulation. So you're stimulating both sides of the body.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
And I went, but that was a bad experience of therapy too.
A lot of people might get the impression from what they see in social media, especially now, that therapy is an immediate answer to your problems.
Yep.
It's not that simple.
Mm-mm.
So I would love to hear your experience of
Yep.
it not being that simple.
Yeah. And often you might have seen on the internet of like EMDR will solve your trauma, or like, you know, EMDR is really effective for trauma work, right? So then I went in being like, I'm ready for EMDR. Give me EMDR. But the thing about EMDR is the therapist and the client, they have to build a really safe and supportive relationship first.
There you go.
Because you're like messing with the nervous system. So you need to feel really comfortable and really safe. But me being like, don't worry, I've worked in trauma. Don't worry. Don't worry. I just need you to just do the EMDR and fix it, essentially.
Yeah.
Like I was in a rush, you know? And I don't think the practitioner did a very good job. I think she herself was very burnt out. I could tell. She was like really burnt out, and I don't think she really kind of supported a slowing down first. Like, okay, let's just pause. I know you want the EMDR. Let's just like take our time and get through it. But instead it was like, usually people, I think they say they might do like 6 sessions before the actual EMDR begins. But I think by session 3, I was already doing like hardcore eye movement like this. I'm just
Was
doing
she
this
waving
to
a
you.
pen? Is that what she was doing?
No, like you wave a stick.
Your stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for our listeners, I just pulled it up. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it's a psychotherapy treatment designed to alleviate the distress associated with traumatic memories. So it gets deep.
Yeah. It goes in there, right?
It goes in there. And so, yeah, it makes sense why you wouldn't want to, you
don't
can't
wanna
just go
rush
from
it.
0 to 100.
Yeah.
But you were like, not my first rodeo, let's go. And
Don't
then-
worry, I'm a
and-
therapist.
Yeah. And then she's just like, I'm burnt out, so let's do it.
Yeah, whatever you want.
That's what you want. Like, let's go.
And then there was like a really good example was, this isn't the case for all EMDR work at all. This was just one thing that this person did, but it was like you pick your emotion, looking at an emotion wheel, and you rate the intensity before you do the eye movement stuff, and then you rate the intensity of that emotion after, right? So then you can kind of see the difference. But I remember looking at this emotion wheel and being like, oh, the word that I want is not on this wheel because the feeling that I feel is a Japanese word, right?
Wow.
And so I was like, I mean, I can't even remember what the word is, but there is no English translation.
Sure.
And then I just remember this person, she got so frazzled. She was so like, well, just make up the translation then. Oh, it can be anything. Like similar is fine.
Was it a white therapist?
Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that.
That's okay. That's all right.
But she was so frazzled. Like, I guess no one has ever brought that in a session ever. This is all pre-shapes and sounds, by the way. So then it's moments like this where you're like, oh, hang on, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like, why am I changing myself to fit some kind of a mold that you feel comfortable working with? And it wasn't, I don't mind if she said, actually, we got to use an English word. I don't actually mind, but it was like that reaction of how she did it. And she was like she was like so like shocked and like, oh my God, like what? Other languages exist? Like that kind of feeling. And it made me feel so like othered. Yeah. Right? Anyway, so then I just made up a word.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was the kind of lack of safety that was present within that therapeutic relationship. So no wonder the EMDR, it did nothing. In fact, I got shingles again and I got really, really sick again. But I actually think that was COVID.
Okay.
Like that was, by then it was 2019. So I feel like it was like a very early COVID strain. But that's a whole nother conspiracy theory.
Sure. What did you do next?
I quit my job.
Hmm.
I went overseas for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I traveled.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back and I started Shapes and Sounds.
Yeah, okay. And then
So it's like a true trauma story.
and so then did you pour yourself into Shapes and Sounds, and that helped the mental side catch up to your physical well side? Would you say
think
that?
so. But do you know what? Where it gets all confusing is then we went into lockdown. So again, everything changed.
Ah, yeah.
And a whole new range of kind of imagined or real threats emerged. So everyone's lives changed. And then I got a dog, Hugo came along. So it's like so much happened. Last year, I did EMDR. And it was great. It was like very effective. And I worked with like a therapist that was amazing. Anyway, again, another story.
No, I mean, that's, yeah. What's the big thing that you learnt from having and then overcoming both chronic pain and then the mental unhealthiness that came with that? What did you learn from that whole arc? Because it's a big one.
Yeah. There's two things that I learned. And again, I feel like I've gone through a big change over the last 5 years. I think the first part is like the first learning is a lot of good things can come out of pain, which I don't know if that's a good thing, like all these crazy bad things happened. And how amazing is it that for some reason I funneled that into beginning Shapes and Sounds, and that early pain, that like emotional pain that I was expressing, like that really resonated with people and that helped to bring people together. And then we built Shapes and Sounds, right? So it's like out of pain emerges goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a real kind of Asian thing. Or you must burn to thrive. But the second thing is you have to take care of your health.
Yeah.
And if I look back, I used to drink so much back when I was doing all of this trauma work. How else do people switch off, right? In such intensity, and your nervous system is so rattled, so you feel like you need to down-regulate. I would also never eat breakfast, and I would call it intermittent fasting, as many people do. And I would have black coffee and then not have breakfast and then be like, oh, why do I feel so anxious? It's like, because you haven't had any food.
Preaching to the choir. I went through the same thing. I used to skip breakfast and just drink coffee and smoke a cigarette. Breakfast was coffee and a cigarette, like the most Melbourne thing ever.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
What is it? The breakfast of champions.
Gross. Yeah.
And then obviously that means your sleep is affected, et cetera, and the cycle continues. But now it's like I spend so much of my life and my energy taking care of my physical health, and that is the backbone to any kind of other health that I have and that I experience. I have to sleep well, I eat well, I drink a lot of water, and I do, I do a lot of training. But I think you need to spend a lot of time doing recovery as well, which is like essentially sleeping is very important.
Yep. And so would you say that you have to take care of all of it?
Yeah.
You have to take care of all of it not at once, but like it's a consistent effort to upkeep all of it.
Yeah.
And then it feeds into itself as well. So if one is lacking, it can easily tip the balance and affect the other thing as well. Like mental and physical I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I should say that chronic pain stuff, it still exists within the body. I know because it happens every now and then. So sometimes before a very stressful event, I will experience this and I can't sleep. Like my body has like locked up and it hurts so much. Last year, I was like training for long distance running, right? And then I would go like I would sign up for a race, like the ASICS race or whatever. And then the night before would be so, like I would be in so much pain that I cannot sleep, like literally like 1 hour of sleep. And my whole body is in so much pain. And it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Did you have flashbacks to the time when you were also...
Yeah, or like maybe not like visual flashbacks, but like your body is
your
like, I
brain,
remember
yeah.
this. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
this pain.
Yep.
I'm here again. And then like the next day I would wake up and everything would be painful because you haven't slept, but then you just kind of move through the motions. And then by the time you're on the starting line, like I don't have the pain anymore.
Wow.
How weird is that? So I guess my third learning is a long time ago, it was like, if you felt the pain, then you must stop. You must stop what you're doing, and you must like pull out of everything. But now it's like, even if you feel the pain, sometimes there's nothing wrong with you. You can keep going, and actually you'll surprise yourself. But I don't know how to say that in a way that doesn't sound unhealthy.
It's interesting, isn't it? That is so nuanced because we do need to push, right? We need to push beyond maybe the signals that our brain is sending us. This is like screaming at us to stop.
Yep.
Sometimes those signals are true. Like you need to actually stop and rest before you do some like long-term damage.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I mean, it kind of circles back to what I was saying before. It's like if you get used to those messages all the time, then they kind of keep coming even when the threat is gone.
It's confusing too, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
how do you work out that difference?
Yeah.
What about your experience? Like, I feel like we had bad back pain at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I remember. So the first time I did my back was playing indoor soccer. It was like at nighttime after work. I used to ride on my bike everywhere. So I rode to this futsal court. Futsal, not indoor soccer. They're different. Futsal. I was playing futsal with some friends in the music scene, and we played this team that were all bigger than us. We're all just kind of scrawny musos, leading unhealthy lives as well. And this team was clearly like a group of corporate bros because they had a uniform with their nicknames on their back, and they played quite a physical game of futsal. And yeah, I just got knocked over because I'm a small person, and I landed right on my ass. Like it hurt, and I played out the game. I guess shock and adrenaline carried me through, but then the next day I couldn't walk. And I called my friend Nissa to come and take me to a doctor because I was like, I can barely move.
Wow.
Like I'm so stiff. And then she got to my place, and then, well, she couldn't drive me to the doctor because she didn't have a car, and my car was a manual, and she had an auto license. So I drove myself to the doctor.
Oh my God.
With her in the passenger seat, and then she helped me,
Get out of the car.
out of the car and walk up, and the doctor just prescribed me basically painkillers, and then alternating between heat and an ice pack. And that was gradually over the week, it turned from stiffness into sciatic pain. And for people who don't know what sciatic pain is, it's a very acute, burning, sharp pain that can start somewhere in your core. It basically starts somewhere and it travels somewhere else, usually along a limb.
Mm-hmm.
Mine went down my left leg, and it also comes with a lot of stiffness. It's the worst in the mornings. I had trouble putting my socks on in the morning, like, because you can barely bend over. When you have sciatica at its worst, it hurts to stand up too long. It hurts to sit down at all. It hurts. You can't lift anything. You are so inflexible. And so if you can't stand up, if you can't sit down, what else can you do? Like,
And didn't you sleep on the floor for a long time too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
And so now I'm very used to sleeping on the floor, like on my back, because it was the only way I could lie down with relief. That's the other thing. With sciatica, lying down hurts as well. Like it's so awful.
Yeah.
And then so I put up with that for like over a year. And what you said before about the physio not seemingly making a difference, I can really resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went and saw an osteo for a long time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely, I moved away from the osteo, whereas that was the thing that fixed you. I ended up seeing a physio, but I do resonate with the like cycling through different like types of therapy, right? Like
to try and fix it.
You just want an answer.
Yeah.
Really, you're so desperate. And eventually I found a physiotherapist. It was kind of maybe my third or fourth option. And he was like, from the get-go, he was like, you need to be patient with yourself and with me, and we just have to work through this like for a long time, and you might not see results. And that was when he showed me the diagram about recovery. So he sketched this graph, and if you imagine, on the x-axis is recovery, so like how well you're doing, and on the y-axis it's time. And he was like, everyone thinks recovery looks like this, and he just drew a straight diagonal line, like just like that, from left to right, like diagonal, from left to right. And then he's like, what recovery actually looks like is this. And then he just drew this real garbage squiggly line all over the page. And he's like, it's not a straight line. There's so many setbacks. You have to expect them. And he did that at a time when I'd been doing my exercises religiously for like 6 months. And I was like, when can I run again? When can I play soccer again? And when can I play, when can I go back to touring? So I had to stop work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had to stop.
You can't do anything.
I was touring a lot as a session muso, and for my own project as well. And I had to lift heavy flight cases full of gear. I remember having this injury while I was in Singapore, like working on music with people in Singapore, and it was still a great time because I was somewhere warm, which is good for your muscles, and there was a pool so I could swim and stuff. But like, I remember sleeping on the floor, and like some mornings just absolutely sucking because I was like in this beautiful place with great food, and I wasn't enjoying myself because I was in so much pain.
And isn't it weird how much you tolerate as well?
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, this is bad. It's like, it's actually debilitating, but you're like, I don't know how to describe it. You're just like, yeah, I'll put up with it.
Well, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
It's like,
do nothing.
You can't, I don't think, it's really sad. I do know people who can't come back from things like this or haven't.
Yep.
And that's super, it's like, I just want to help them, but I don't know how. But for me, I couldn't just sit there and take it.
Yeah.
And so in the similar way to you, I just looked for the smallest amount of growth that I could possibly see when it came to physio exercises and when it came to like health choices as well. So I quit smoking during that time, even though it doesn't really have that much to do with like back pain. It's like, I was like, well, I'm just going to give my body every single chance to recover. Because like you, I'd resigned to this being my life forever. I was like, oh, this is it now. I'll buy a cane one day and I'll just hobble around slowly like an old man. But yeah,
what do you think you would have done in those times if someone was like, actually, I think it's all in your head?
My physio said that to me. He was like, I think your brain is telling you that you're in trouble when you're not.
Yeah.
And so, he taught me to kind of test the waters by pushing a little bit. And he's like, if it hurts at the time, that's fine. If it hurts for the next week after that, it's not fine.
Yeah, same. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're doing something and you feel the pain, then tell yourself, I'm using the muscle, not I'm in danger.
That is really interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then you monitor after.
Yeah.
And so now that's how I operate now. But it took a very long time to actually understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so when I'm running now, if I feel a twinge, it has failed me before. Like I did a calf earlier this year. Did my first time, like most typical old man injury ever to pull a calf. And it's like I remember I went on I did like 10K the night before a big baseball game, and then I went to baseball. I put on my shoes, and then I went to go and do a dynamic warm up. And the getting up to go and do the warm up, I pulled the calf, and I was like, I'm out.
Lucky Marcus and Oscar are here for this old geriatric conversation.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we're gonna lose a lot of young listeners with this chat.
Yeah.
But I just remember while running the 10K, I was like, yeah, calf feels tight, but from what I've learned is like monitor after. The mistake was going to play baseball the next day because it's like
because you're not 25.
You're not 20. Yeah, I'm definitely not 25, and I didn't listen to my body in that very small window where I should have.
Yeah.
But I do think that one of the most useful things the physio taught me was if it's hurting at the time, you might be okay. Just be careful with what happens afterwards. Yeah. And then, I mean, like that allows you to endure some things. People are like, what do you think about, or are you listening to something? And I'm like, no, I don't listen to anything. I just run, and it's a good time to disconnect. And then they're like, so what's going on in your head if you've got, and I'm like, well, there's like birds, and I'm looking at the I hear my footsteps on the pavement, and there's a river sometimes or whatever, but mostly I'm just trying to not die because I'm breathing and I'm pushing myself, and the resistance to your brain telling you to stop doing stuff is helping you build resilience, I think.
Yeah. It depends. Sometimes you got to do easy runs too.
Well, that's true.
But anyway,
let's get into running chat. Yeah, this is a running podcast
now. Anyway, okay.
Do you think that we would be very different people if we didn't get hurt in the first place?
That's such an interesting question because you got hurt, I didn't.
True.
Like you had an injury, so it was like a thing. Whereas for me, it just came out of nowhere, but obviously was there all along.
The experience of pain then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would be a better runner.
Really?
Because then I wouldn't have fear. So isn't that interesting? Like I feel like maybe that says something like it's still there. I think it's taught me very viscerally about that relationship, about that nervous system relationship as well.
Yeah.
And it's taught me how to manage that more. So now I focus a lot on recovery and just like trying to like relax and lie down if I've had a big training session and then a big work day as well. I don't know. I don't know if it's made me better as a human.
Just a quick tangent before I answer my own question.
Okay.
How do you balance listening to your nervous system with discipline? Because if you're training for a big event or and it's like, I'm tired, you still got to do your physio exercises or like you still need to do your recovery run or.
Yep.
Is it easy for you?
Now it is, but it's taken a long time to build this relationship. So it's been at least a year and a half of really trying to navigate that. And like when is a time to not run and when is a time to run. And now I've really gotten to a place where I understand that to make something better, like you have a bit of a niggle, not an injury, but a niggle, you must train that and do like activation and exercises for that to actually get better. Like resting, unfortunately, doesn't actually help the body at all, right? And that visceral understanding of that has translated into like real life as well, about like if something feels hard, unfortunately, the only way that I'll get better at it is if I actually do the thing. If I avoid doing a task because it's a difficult task, then I never ever improve, and that task will always be difficult. It's like if I have like a niggle in my leg, it's never going to go away unless I do the exercises, right?
I agree with you. Even with my calf now, I feel it tightening up. And strangely, the thing that makes that tightness go away is if I go for a jog.
Yeah, a jog. Yeah.
That's where I'm at now, where it's like, it used to be like, oh, tightness, back
Better
off.
rest.
Yeah, better back off. It's like, no, actually, don't go psycho. Like, you don't need to run a 15K, but like take 30 minutes out there and then see how you feel. And usually I feel great after that. Like, it's like, oh, the calf feels like it could go for another 10. So
interesting, right?
Yeah, I feel I did what I did. There was a difference that I wanted to point out though.
Okay.
You said that you would be a better runner without the pain because you
wouldn't be scared.
You wouldn't have the fear. So my experience has been that I started doing all this physio rehab to fix my back, and then after that, I just kept going because I'd built a habit, and I kept pushing. I kept upping the weights in my strength training. I kept increasing the distance and the pace that I was running. And then it actually made me fitter than I'd ever been before the injury, which is really interesting.
That's amazing. That's so good.
I've slid back from that now as I get older. But
yeah.
But like for me, it's really weird how I needed to have something to defeat. To have the ability, the athletic ability that I have now.
Interesting.
It's really weird, isn't it?
But I think that shows like your mindset versus my mindset, you know?
Yeah. But we've arrived at the same answer, which is like
you gotta keep going.
Pain is in the mind, and sometimes you gotta push through it.
Yeah.
Right? Well, after all of this chat about overcoming physical pain and how linked it is with our brains and how our brains work, how do you think that it relates to us and our experience in a cultural sense?
Yeah. I think let's talk about just say racism, experiences of racism, like especially for Asian Australian kids, like kids that grew up here.
Us.
Yeah. And like these early childhood experiences of maybe you experienced racism and you had to understand that through a child's brain, so a brain that hasn't yet developed. I think it's similar to this kind of chronic pain experience, being like, then like as you get older, or just say another experience occurs, then your brain is already alert and hypervigilant, right? It could just be like a look. Someone looks at you funny or differently, but your brain immediately is like, bing, that's racism, right? And then you come back and then you have like a bodily response. So similar to that experience of pain and chronic pain, right? It's just like the message gets, it's not messed up, that's not the right word, but it's like something happens along that chain and keeps you in a state of threat and fear. And I think what is so challenging to do, it's like what we were talking about, exactly like the pain, like how do you know when to keep going, when to stop? But it's like, how do we have all of these experiences and also understand that racism is very, very real and it occurs and microaggressions are really occurring, but yet also approaching every situation being like, okay, my brain is kind of like wired in this way. So how can I kind of keep myself calm and approach each situation in a way that I don't feel like is a racist attack on me, right? And it's so nuanced, right? Because it's like racism really exists. So you can't just be like, oh, it's my brain, therefore it's not happening. But it's nuanced, I would say. And I think the way I've interpreted it and the way that I've made sense of all of that is like you've got to work to your own advantage, right? So if every day I go out into the world being like, I'm hypervigilant, racism exists everywhere, especially microaggressions towards Asians. If I'm always thinking in that way, then that doesn't serve me. That doesn't give me a good life. So then I will really try to work on calming myself, soothing my own system to try and like not flip into that fear mode all the time.
A lot of those techniques of setting ourselves up so that we don't go into every situation ready to react or whatever, it comes from learning about ourselves, right? Like we have to know, we have to look for our signs as to when we are in a reactive mood. And I mean, okay, let me simplify it even further. I've cut coffee almost out
Me
completely
too.
from
How
my life.
sad is that?
I'm such an old
Yeah,
person. Oh my God.
I know. This is the worst podcast episode ever.
Don't listen. But like, well, I found that I was drinking coffee and feeling so anxious and hyped up. And cutting it out helped. Like it really just calmed me down.
Who would have thought, right?
And I wouldn't have a crash at 2 p.m. like, and then need another coffee and stuff. So like, I get it. You know, I still love coffee. I love the taste of it, and I always want one. And I do understand that some people, they kind of just need it to live, to function. I get it. I was that person once. But I just tried it one day. I just tried a week of not having it, and my life smoothed the hell out. Like it was just so much easier to get through the day without my brain telling me lies about what someone was thinking.
Interesting.
And
see, you only know because you tried it.
I had a crack.
That's the only way to do anything in life,
Yeah.
to take action.
Yep. So, I mean, what are we trying to say here?
Yeah. See, it's so nuanced because I don't want people to hear this and be like, oh, I've got pain. It must be in my head. You know?
No, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
That is absolutely not what we're saying.
Oh, racism doesn't exist. It's just in my head. That's definitely not what we're saying
We're
at
not
all.
saying. They're not saying that.
But I think maybe what we're trying to say is that relationship is really complicated, you know? And pain, whether that's physical pain, emotional pain, it's really nuanced. And if you have a difficult relationship with pain, it's not something that you actually have to live with forever. That's something I think you and I would have liked to have heard.
Yeah.
We would,
We didn't.
We were just like, oh yeah.
No one actually sat us down and said that to us.
Yeah, no one, hey?
We just believed that we were stuck with this was our lot in life. Yeah.
And that there are people who can support as well.
Yep.
You know? There's actually one practitioner on our Shapes and Sounds practitioner list who is like a pain specialist, maybe not a pain specialist, like who works with chronic pain. And you can find Ray Chen in New South Wales. So shout out to Ray. Hi, Ray.
Awesome.
But
awesome.
I just thought his work was really interesting. We haven't had a chronic pain like person that specializes in that on our practitioner list. So I think like you're not alone. It's not forever. There are people that have like lots and lots of experience working with kind of chronic conditions and chronic pain. They exist on our practitioner list. That's good. And it's an ongoing journey, isn't it? Like right now I feel so strong and so healthy.
You have a routine though.
I have
week.
an amazing routine. Yeah.
So do I. My routine is a mess, but I do what I can, fit it in where I
It's
can.
a routine.
It's
sorts.
there. Yeah. And I'm able to play sport. Like I'm able to run and I feel so different to that person that I was when I was hobbling around
Yeah.
every morning.
2018 for you too?
Even earlier than that. I think it was a few years before. But,
Oh, goodness. Okay.
but yeah. But like I did it multiple times.
Mhm.
I like slipped a disc maybe 3 times
Ooh.
and it was awful. So I've dealt with it many times, but it's been years. It's been like a really long time. It's the longest time ever since a back injury. You know, I'm like lifting more than I ever have. My body's just changed.
Yeah.
I've gone up a few clothing sizes as well.
Just comes with age.
Some of it's muscle, some of it's not muscle, whatever. I'm just old. It's fine. Don't listen to this episode. I think that's a great place to wrap it up. What do you think? Yeah.
That sounds good.
I think you can find Ray Chen. You can find us, Shapes and Sounds, on Instagram and on LinkedIn at Just Shapes and Sounds. Please subscribe to us, to our pod. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. It really helps other people find us. Download this episode for offline listening. It might just give you some cushioning around your life if you're feeling or dealing with chronic pain. And most importantly, share this episode with your friends, because word of mouth really helps to destigmatize mental health within Asian communities. Asami, thank you so much for sharing your chronic pain story with us.
Thanks,
I learned a lot.
Thanks for hosting. Well done.
Pleasure.
Bye. The Asian Mental Health Podcast is a production from Shapes and Sounds, and it's made on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. This show is hosted by Asami Koike, Marcus Lai and Oscar Abe, and produced by Yo Chung. We're proudly supported by the Victorian Department of Health's Diverse Communities program. All thoughts and ideas you hear are independently ours and our guests.